Imagine waking up to the sharp rap of knuckles on your door at dawn, only to find a self-appointed neighborhood overlord glaring at you like you've just declared war on suburbia. That's how my nightmare began. Or should I say, the farce that would unravel an empire of petty tyranny. But let's not get ahead. This tale of twisted rules and sweet revenge starts with a simple red shed and ends with handcuffs clinking in the moonlight. I never asked to be the neighborhood pariah. My name's Alex Rivera, and I'd moved to Willow Creek Estates 5 years ago, seeking that mythical American dream, a quiet cul-de-sac, a patch of grass, and zero drama. The rumors started small, whispers that I was that guy who didn't mow on schedule. The one with the eyesore garden gnomes, they were heirlooms. For God's sake. I ignored it all, sipping my black coffee on the porch, observing how the HOA newsletters piled up like passive-aggressive love letters. Deep down, I knew the source, Valerie Val Hargrove, the HOA president who'd crowned herself Queen of Conformity. She paraded around in her pressed khakis and pearl earrings, preaching community standards like a televangelist hawking salvation. But me, I stayed silent, watching her little power plays unfold like a bad soap opera. Val first zeroed in on my property because of the shed I'd built out back. It wasn't some ramshackle eyesore. I'd crafted it meticulously last fall, using salvaged timber from an old farm, wiring it with LED lights, and topping it with a green roof for herbs and veggies. Inside, I stored my woodworking tools, a vintage motorcycle, and a pair of adopted goats that kept the weeds down. It was my sanctuary, a nod to self-sufficiency in a world of cookie-cutter lawns. But to Val, it was a threat, a blatant rebellion against the HOA's ironclad aesthetic guidelines. Guidelines that, mind you, didn't even apply to my lot, grandfathered in from before the subdivision swallowed the old rural edges. The knock came at 6:45 a.m. sharp. I cracked the door, steam rising from my mug, and there she stood, clipboard clutched like Excalibur, lips pursed in that signature mix of faux politeness and veiled disdain. "Mr. Rivera," she drawled, her voice dripping with the kind of honeyed venom reserved for HOA meetings. "We've received complaints about your structure." She eyed the shed visible from the driveway as if it had mooned her. "It's not compliant with Section 4.2 of the covenants. No unapproved outbuildings over 100 square feet." I leaned against the door frame, boots still muddy from yesterday's gardening. "Morning to you too, Val." "Complaints? From who? The squirrels?" She didn't crack a smile. "Anonymous, of course. For privacy. But it's unsightly, Alex. It disrupts the harmony of our community." Harmony. There was that word again, the HOA's favorite buzzword for do as I say or else. I explained calmly that I'd cleared it with the county zoning board months ago. Permits in hand, all above board. "Not our jurisdiction," I added, sipping my coffee. Her eyes narrowed to slits. "Our covenants supersede that. You signed them, except I hadn't. My deed was precho, a fact she'd conveniently forgotten in her zeal. "Not interested in your club, Val," I said, shutting the door softly. End of story. Right? Wrong. This was just the appetizer in Val's buffet of absurdity. By noon, the whispers had escalated. I overheard Mrs. Jenkins at the mailbox, clucking to her poodle. Heard Rivera's building a meth lab back there. Val says it's a code red. Meth lab? My goats ate kale, not chemicals. I bit my tongue, but inside, I started documenting. Photos of my pristine yard. Copies of permits, a quiet arsenal for the storm I sensed brewing. That evening, Val posted on the neighborhood Facebook group, "Reminder, unauthorized structures lower property values for all of us. Let's keep Willow Creek classy." HOA pride. Likes poured in from her cronies, with emojis of thumbs up and American flags. I scrolled past, smirking at the irony her classy involved spying on trash bins for recycling violations. The real fun began the next day. Taped to my shed door was a neon pink notice, emblazoned with the HOA seal, which looked suspiciously like a clip-art eagle. Violation. Non-compliant accessory structure. Remove within 7 days or incur $50 daily fines. The language was pompous, quoting bylaws I'd never agreed to. I chuckled darkly. Fines? From what authority? The Tooth Fairy? I called the county guy, Tom, who'd approved my build. "Val's at it again," he sighed over the phone, rustling papers. "Your shed's golden, Alex. She's got no teeth here. Teeth enough to bite," I muttered. He faxed me a certified letter affirming everything. Legal, zoned, eco-friendly even. I printed extras and plastered them on the shed like wallpaper. Take that, pink slip. But Val wasn't one to back down. Oh no. She doubled down like a gambler on a losing streak. The following morning, I stepped out to feed the goats and froze. Scrawled across the shed side in drippy black spray paint, "Illegal shack, tear down." It looked like a toddler's tantrum, paint running down the wood I'd sanded by hand. My trail cam, solar-powered, hidden in the eaves, had captured it all. Val sneaking up at midnight, hoodie up, glancing around like a cartoon villain before unleashing her aerosol fury. The footage was grainy but gold, her face lit by the flashlight, lips curled in smug satisfaction as she shook the can. I backed it up thrice, heart pounding not from anger, but from the sheer ridiculousness. Who vandalizes over a vegetable patch? I marched to the sheriff's office that afternoon, USB in pocket. Deputy Ramirez watched the video, stifling a laugh. "Let me guess, HOA boss lady? Acting queen," I corrected. "No elections, she just ascended." He nodded knowingly. "We've seen this before. Vandalism's a misdemeanor, but with her position, could be abuse of power." I left with a report and a grin I couldn't hide. Back home, the rumors exploded. Rivera's faking evidence to smear Val, posted anonymously. Of course. I stayed mum, letting the pot simmer. Then came the envelope, shoved under my door like a mobster's warning. No stamp, just the HOA logo stamped crookedly. Inside, a cease and desist order accusing me of defamatory slander for sharing the footage. "Your actions harass HOA officials in the execution of their duties," it read, in font that screamed, "Downloaded template." It demanded I retract my false claims or face a lawsuit for emotional distress. Emotional distress? From getting caught red-handed? I nearly spat my coffee. The letter even cited some bogus statute about community peace. I scanned it and emailed my buddy Lena, a paralegal in Atlanta who'd owed me since I fixed her fence. "Bluff City," she texted back after reviewing. No lawyer's signature, no case number. She's winging it off LegalZoom. But then she dug deeper. "Hold up, HOA just petitioned to annex your block. Retroactive jurisdiction." Sneaky. The plot thickens. Val wasn't just peeved about my shed. She wanted my street under her thumb to boost dues and her ego. The petition claimed full resident support, including a forged scrawl next to my name loopy cursive when I sign like a doctor on steroids. I hit the county records office, grabbing copies. The clerk smirked. Challenge it. We don't check unless poked. I filed an objection on the spot, then canvassed the block. Old Mr. Patel, the vet with the flagpole, stared at his signature. I didn't sign jack. Val's been on my case about my bird feeders. Says they attract vermin. Ms. Ortiz, who ran a home daycare, fumed. She threatened fines for my kid's swing set. Called it clutter. And the young duo, Jamal and Keisha, laughed bitterly. We escaped an HOA nightmare. Now she's forging our way back in? By week's end, I had 7 affidavits swearing fraud. Val's unanimous support? A house of cards built on lies. I leaked it to the local news subtly, an email tip with attachments. Channel 7's reporter, Mia, showed up with a camera crew. So, the HOA president's vandalizing property and forging docs to expand her empire? She asked. Mike thrust forward. Not think or no, I replied, showing the spray paint video, the fake SIGs, the county thumbs up on my shed. The story aired primetime. HOA horror, forgery, vandalism, and a battle for backyards. My shed gleamed in the B-roll, a symbol of defiance. Shares skyrocketed, comments flooded with Karen alert and laughing emojis. Val's facade cracked. She posted a frantic denial, fake news, defending our standards against rogue elements. Rogue elements? Me and my goats? But queens don't abdicate easily. The next day, her minions, 2 HO enforcers in matching polos and name tags that screamed volunteer thug, strutted onto my lawn, snapping photos. Documenting non-compliance, the burly one barked, Bluetooth blinking like a cyborg. The other, a prim lady with a perm, sneered, this eyesore's bringing down values. I blocked their path. Phone recording. Trespassing. Folks. No warrant. No welcome. They huffed and puffed, but backed off when I mentioned the sheriff. Video sent. Folder growing. The sheriff dove in full force, questioning Val. The planning board halted the annexation. Neighbors started chatting, really chatting. Mrs. Jenkins confessed Val had fined her for unauthorized holiday lights. Mr. Patel shared tales of bogus lawn citations. It was like popping a boil. The pus of pent-up grievances flowed. A subpoena landed on Val's doorstep mid-board meeting. One lackey bolted. Another squealed about hidden files. Dawn raid on the HOA office. Cops carting boxes from a strip mall unit masquerading as HQ. I watched from afar, coffee in hand. Detective Hayes called me in later. 17 dossiers. Alex. Yours? Red flagged. Flipping pages. Logs of my comings and goings. Notes on my suspicious gardening hours. An envelope labeled Rivera Takedown. Maps. Pressure tactics. Even a script for anonymous complaints. She spied with fake bird feeders, cameras inside. Hayes revealed. Sliding a photo. Tiny lens peeking from a wooden house on a pole across my street. My jaw clenched. Hilarious in its creepiness. Terrifying in intent. Val's long game. Annex edges. Hike dues. Pocket skim. She'd embezzled $32,000 through ghost vendors. Her sister's consulting firm that never consulted. Board cronies signed off blindly, fearing her wrath. Charges piled. Forgery. Vandalism. Wire fraud. Illegal surveillance. The DA built a conspiracy rap. I walked out into the crisp air, vindicated. The emergency meeting packed the community hall. Hayes presented slides, forgeries exposed, camera pics, embezzlement spreadsheets. Gasps turned to murmurs, then outrage. Our dues-funded spy cams? Someone yelled. State Rep Carla stepped up. Refunds incoming. Restitution for all. She nodded at me. Alex, your turn. I took the mic, voice steady. I built a shed, not a revolution. But Val turned rules into weapons. We let fear fence us in. Applause swelled. Vote. HOA dissolved by 85%. Outside, Val was cuffed, led away mid-glare. No knights rallied. Her throne toppled. For weeks post-fall, signs vanished. I fixed my shed's paint, adding a weather vane shaped like a middle finger subtle. Of course. Carla dropped audit docs. Val's laundering via PO. Boxes. Gear bought with community cash. Feds charged. 12-year minimum loomed. Rob's bonfire bash. Tool shed reborn as free library. No dues. Just deeds. The sign read. Officer Hayes off duty. Tip came about her attic drive. Encrypted with fluffy reversed. Forgery templates galore. I laughed. Her cat's name? Poetic stupidity. Sentencing loomed. My property got ironclad independence. Jamal and Keisha's goat pen rose with my help. They named a kid Val. Bossy, but penned in. Spring bloomed, workshops. Gardens flourished. A porch note. Fear builds walls. Courage tears them down. Framed it. By summer, my shed was hub tool loans. Solar tips. No more code queries. Truth reigned. But here's the kicker. Was Val the villain? Or just a symptom of systems that let petty tyrants thrive? You tell me. In a world of rules run amok, who's really violating the code?